We live, baby. We back.
It don't matter the color of the skin, either woman or man, just let the case land. It's here, it's in safe hands. This is God work, not a fake plan. Too many kids being found in these lakes, man. This is MTGV, and you with Miss V. She keep her ear
Welcome
to
in,
the
everybody.
straight drum to a beat. This is the place that you wanna be, but all trolls we delete, you better believe. Just so you know we don't go for
Shout out
those
to everybody in the
that's
building.
taking these souls.
And shout out to everybody on the
But
replay.
it's getting so out of control.
Please smack that thumbs up
Just
as you
so
come into
you
the
know
building.
we don't go for those
And
that's
drop down to let me know who's
taking
here.
these souls. We know, but
We're
it's
gonna be
getting
talking
so
about
out
Sade
of
Robinson.
control. Thank you for tuning in to MTGV, True Crime TV. Y'all know what it is, man. Team Vaughn, Miss V. Hey, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you leave a comment, too. Yeah. We're going to see you on the flip side, man.
Okay, welcome in, everybody. Please drop down in the chat and let me know who's here. Shout out to Sherry. Good to see you in here. Happy Hump Day. And welcome in to BFF. We are back, y'all. So, Sade Robinson is a case that I covered back when it happened. And it definitely caught my attention because she was only 19 years old and she went on a date on April Fool's Day. And this guy, Maxwell Anderson, he knew what he wanted to do from the time that he set this date or the time that he met her. He wanted to take somebody out. He had a troubled past. I mean, he sounded like he was a piece of work to be around, period. And it is said that his father is rich and all of this kind of stuff. So his dad bought him a house and he really was a F up. I mean, he had jumped on family members. He had been put out. Nobody wanted to deal with him. But he was working at some bar that he allegedly took her to. And I don't know how they met. But I want to get into it because it's some things that I'm curious about. What all did they find out? So for the people that don't know and the ones that need to be refreshed, including myself, because it's been a while since I talked about Sade. But we're going to talk about her today, y'all. We're going to go through we're going to go through the opening statements and a couple other things to see what's going on. So this happened in Milwaukee. And it's been more than, now this article that I'm reading is actually May 19th of 2025. And it says it's been more than a year since the body parts surfaced throughout Milwaukee, which prompted a massive search for the missing teen Sade Robinson. Let me move this thing out the way. Give me 1 second, y'all. And also, for the people that don't know, we have something that is called a community now. So make sure you check out the community every day if you can, because I post certain things, and now subscribers, you just got to be a subscriber for a day, and you can actually post things on there. It's kind of similar to Facebook. So I wanted to say that, and then this is what it is.
What's up, sleuths? Please be sure to visit the community daily. YouTube is now asking what's on your mind. The community is now a place that we can have ongoing conversations and is similar to Facebook. You as a subscriber can tap into any conversation on the community. Here you will find a variety of things, even things that's not related to crime. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you. What's up? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. For sharing. For sharing. For sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so let me play this first video. As a matter of fact, let's start there.
Sade Robinson's DNA inside Maxwell Anderson's house and on his clothes. First, I want to take you
covering this case from day one. Jenna, two big pieces of evidence revealed in just the last couple of hours.
Steve, massive bombshells uncovered here in court today, including DNA evidence. A state crime lab analyst testifying that they found Sade Robinson's DNA inside Maxwell Anderson's house and on his clothes. First, I want to take you back to Tuesday. The state showed us pictures from inside Anderson's house then. In those pictures, we were shown a red plaid jacket several times. Today, we learned that plaid jacket found on Anderson's couch tested positive for DNA of Sade Robinson. In addition, Sade's DNA was found on the dark zip-up hoodie Anderson is seen wearing on the county transit bus. The same hoodie prosecutors say he's wearing after he set Sade's car on fire, and the same jacket detectives say they found in a trash can 2 doors down from Anderson's home.
Of those items that were submitted, there was only one, the plaid jacket from the living room, that could be associated with Sade Robinson.
How about the swabs from the zipper pull from that jacket?
That is a single source female profile that is consistent with the standard from Sade Robinson.
This afternoon, we also learned that Sade Robinson and Maxwell Anderson actually met before April 1st, which was originally thought to be their first meeting. The surveillance video is from now closed Victor's in downtown Milwaukee. A sheriff's deputy testified he went to Victor's looking for evidence because Anderson previously worked there. Video from Victor's on March 29th, 3 days before Sade Robinson was murdered, shows Sade Robinson and Anderson leaving the bar together with friendly body language. This is the first time the state has established that Sade and Anderson knew each other prior to their dinner date on April 1st.
Wow, that's the first that I'm hearing that.
Now, with all of this new information being exposed in court today, nearly every single juror in that box had their elbows on their knees, leaning forward, intensely listening to state prosecutors lay their case and listen to those witnesses testify. We also heard several gasps and people looking around surprised and talking with each other in the gallery. A lot of shock today from the evidence presented. As always, we're back in court tomorrow at 8:45, and we're streaming online live on TMJ4.com and on our news app. We're live outside Milwaukee County Courthouse Complex.
Now, why did he choose her? I remember her father saying that this dude wasn't even my daughter's type. I don't even know how he even got her in his car. Welcome in, Charlene. This is a case that really, caught my attention when it happened. So I'm like, I gotta find out what really happened, y'all. So I'm gonna go through the timeline right quick. So again, this article is from May 29th, May 19th. It's Fox 6 that I'm reading. It's been more than a year since the body parts resurfaced throughout Milwaukee, which prompted a massive search for the missing teen, Sade Robinson. Police say Robinson was last seen alive on a first date, which we just found out that wasn't her first date. But close enough. Heck, she didn't know this dude. But I thought it was April. We all thought up until they just said that, for me, that it was April 1st. So I was like, wow, he planned it for April Fool's Day. Okay. So that wasn't necessarily true, but then it could still be true, because it still could be true. So police say Robinson was last seen alive on the first date. It is a crime filled with twists and turns, and soon the trial is expected to start. Okay, so we are here. We are past here. So the crime filled with twists and turns, what we know. So this is why we always say allege, right? Because until they go to court, trial, and we hear everything, we don't know all the details, right? We do not know. So we gonna figure it all out. Let me see. I wondered about this case. Miss V never got around to it. Glad you're covering. I'm glad that you wanted to hear it, because I was gonna do a poll to see What other cases do y'all want to hear? Like, let me know if it's something that y'all been seeing that y'all want me to cover. Let me know. You could hit my phone up and let me know. As a matter of fact, that would be better. Send it to the phone. That way, won't nobody beat me to the punch. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and put my number up. Let me know any cases y'all want me to cover. Okay. Let me move her right quick. I ain't gonna have her up here the whole time. All right, we're gonna get into it. It says crime filled with twists and turns. What happened? So April 2nd, 2024 was a gloomy spring day in Milwaukee County. The waves of Lake Michigan brought a chilling discovery, a severed leg, and the last I heard, her head has still not been found. Now, I might find out something different here. I don't think so, though. I'm not sure. It says the waves of Lake Michigan brought a chilling discovery, a severed leg in Watermark County, or Watermark Park. The grim finding would unravel the mystery of 19-year-old Sade Robinson. Prosecutors say Sade vanished after the first date with 33-year-old. What a 33-year-old want with a 19-year-old? Yeah, he must be less of a man. Anytime a man is pursuing a young girl like that, is because he don't stand a chance with somebody his dang on age, because he's still juvenile, aka Jarvis Butts. He only mess with people that's mentally challenged, or a child, or an infant, whichever one. But unsealed warrants revealed a confidential informant told investigators Sade planned to unalive her. And I remember when this person came forward, because the father and other people were just saying, like, okay, now is a little bit too late. If you knew this before, why didn't you say something beforehand? And so the confidential informant told investigators Anderson planned to unalive her. It was seemingly fatal attraction, leading to the investigation spanning 2 states, and led to the arrest of Anderson for the homicide, the arson, and a mutilation of Sade Robinson. She did not deserve it. She was going places. I know she had recently went to Puerto Rico. She was traveling alone, and she was just living her life. You know, enjoying being grown, probably. You know, you're 19, you just getting out the house usually. Just doing your own thing, moving it like you want to. And so the timeline, April 1st, 2024, to understand what happened. And this is all alleged. Okay, we might hear something else while we here, but we need to go back to the day before April 1st. So the court records show text messages between Robinson and Anderson between 4:15 p.m. and 5:18 p.m. Anderson texted her, "Are you hungry? I'm gonna need to stop at Twisted Fisherman to pick up my W-2s from last year, and we could eat there first." And that didn't never make sense to me, because why you just now getting your W-2s and it's at the time when you on a date? That don't make sense. But it was his plan to go to where he knew. And so Robinson responded, "Okay, and yes, are we eating at Brat House or the other place?" Anderson replied, let's eat at Twisted. I'm feeling seafood." Robinson answered, "Yes, I love seafood." Well, let me read the actual messages now that I see it. It says, Sade said, "Okay, and yes." Okay, wait. "Are you hungry?" Okay. "Okay, and yes." Yep. "Let's eat." "Yes, I love seafood." Okay, same thing. Hold on. All right, so still images from a surveillance camera showed the two inside a Twisted Fisherman, which I ran across that. So let me put that up. Wait a minute, I might not have put it in there. Okay, no. Let me just read this. Okay, so because they did show surveillance of them in the restaurant or whatever. You could see them sitting there at the bar. And then I wondered if she had a drink because she was only 19. She was only 19 and she shouldn't have been drinking. So I do wonder that. And so it says, still images of surveillance cameras show the two inside a Twisted Fisherman. Investigators say Sade Robinson had a Life 360 app, a location tracking app. It placed her at Duke's on Water and later at Anderson's home near 39th and Oklahoma. It is the last place Sade's loved ones believed she was still alive. Her phone was pinging at his home until 12:45 a.m. on April 2nd. Her cousin's perspective. Kiki, Robinson's cousin, she has not shared her last name publicly. Okay. But over the last year, she has led searches for her cousin and pushed for answers. And okay, they showing a picture of her. I do recognize her. So now for the first time, Kiki is sharing videos of Robinson the night before she disappeared. You can see parts of what appears to be Anderson's distinctive arm tattoo around one of my family members. Another one of my family members reached out stating they were at the bar with her, Kiki told Fox. Okay, so Easter, the 31st. Let me read that again. So another one of my family members reached out stating they were at the bar with her on Easter. It just says with her Easter, 31st and Victor's. That they were having drinks. They seen her with this man and who is described as the demon, who he called him. What? So Robinson was reported missing. What they know, she was reported missing by a friend after she did not show up for her shift at the pizza shuttle on April 2nd. The same morning, Milwaukee police said a car was set on fire near 30th and Lisbon Avenue. Detectives later learned it was Sade's vehicle. I just heard the car crash and it was a big bang, and I saw the car outside of my window. So I came outside, and by the time I came out, I see the flames start. Then I see this taller white guy just running away from the car. So everybody seen him. Everything he did was recorded. He was on the bus. He was walking down the street. He was running away from the car. This idiot got caught at every turn, and that's exactly what he get. Shout out to Yakia. Exactly a few nights before that. Yes, I did not know that until today. So in that moment, rder said she did not realize what she was witnessing. I remember his face when he turned around because he looked so shocked, and then found out a couple days later what was actually going on. So hours after the car was torched on April 2nd, a man discovered a severed leg with pink toenail polish at Warnermont Park in Cudahy. I might be saying that wrong. So that is the same place investigators would later say Robinson's phone pinged between 3 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. So the days to come, what we know, on April 5th, less than a mile from the car fire, a body part was found in the same area of 30th and Lisbon. On April 6th, remains were discovered. Like every day they was finding some pieces, right? And mostly it was civilians. It was their family and stuff that was searching, that was finding the stuff from what I can remember. So on April 5th, they found something less than a mile away from the car. A body part was found in the same area. On April 6th, remains were discovered at 31st and Galena. On April 7th, more remains were found at 31st and Walnut. Just everywhere. At one point, Kiki said she found a blanket with Robinson's face on it, lying on the ground in Galena Park. I looked down and I seen Sade's face just flipped over, Kiki said. My heart instantly started to beat and I just yelled to my sister. And I was like, I just found her blanket. And everybody just ran over to me. And the detectives showed up. Nobody called them. They just showed up. I told them we just found her blanket. And they just started shutting off the area. Did you find anything else? Fox 6 asked. I did. I found her bone. Oh my God. And I was about to pass out, and I did not. Everybody else around me was crying. Everybody was emotional. I can't get emotional because I am going to break down, and if I break, I'm not going to be able to search. Okay? Oh, that just gave me chills. The surveillance video was obtained, and a deep dive was happening. They dug deeper, and they obtained a surveillance video from a business on 31st and Walnut, and it showed a person with clothing that matched this idiot, Maxwell Anderson. He was on the bus. He was headed home. The person appears to be wearing a hoodie and a gray backpack. This is similar to the surveillance images in the area where he was seen walking down the street. They seen this. They had him. They had a snippet of this dude, everything he did. They should have had him striking a match and doing. I still don't know where he did it at though. Okay, and then days later, he was arrested, which I don't know why it took days. He should have been arrested the same day. He made an initial court appearance on April 12th. So April 1st, and it took them 11 days to get him in court. So detectives used everything from flashlights to sonar boats. Robinson's loved ones searched far and wide with support of the community. One day we actually walked 21 miles. That was between there and back. We walked east, we walked west, probably all the way to Racine. And this is literally what you gotta do, man. And I noticed that she said that right when she found that blanket, they showed up and ain't nobody called him. That was interesting. That caught my attention. But body parts were recovered. What we know on April 18th, 17 days after Robinson had been first reported missing, her torso and her arm was found south of Milwaukee. And let me do a disclaimer, like this may be shocking. This is a crime channel and this is a horrific case. But we want to tell this case not to shock anybody. It is never about that, but to make the community aware of what happened and continue to seek justice and hope that we find the rest of her, or they find the rest of her. Because from my knowledge, she still hasn't all been found. Okay. And also, I'm reading all of this and playing the videos under fair use.
This channel may feature copyrighted video and audio content under the guidelines of fair use permitted by copyright statute for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. All content and credit go to the original creators. No copyright infringement is intended.
Okay, so nearly a month later, May 11th, Robinson's arm washed up on the beach in Waukegan, Illinois. What are you still searching for? Asked Bria Jones. I'm gonna say her crown. Her head is still missing, and that's what I thought. And Kiki said that her dad, I heard her mom say that before as well. And that's why it's important we still do all of these memorials and stuff so that people don't forget we don't have all of her. I never forgot, and that's why I had to come in here and do this, because I covered this case. I always circle back to cases that I covered to see what happened, because that was one of my things. Like, people, you be like, whatever happened with that case? You know, and people just forget about it, because when it was popular, I mean, I don't know if this ever got the attention that it should have got. But to this day, pieces of Sade Robinson remains lost to the world, a somber reminder that justice awaits in the shadows. So let's see what this guy, Animal, did. And shout out to everybody here. Please smack that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Share us out. That would be great. Okay, we're going to go to the opening statements.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judge just read you the preliminary instructions. That is the law that is to guide you as you listen to the evidence in this case. And what I'm going to ask you to do now and ask you to do at the end of trial is two things. And they're two things that the judge just mentioned during those instructions. Use your common sense and search for the truth. That is your job. Over the course of the rest of this week and into next week, you are going to hear testimony from the witness stand. You are going to see exhibits. You are going to see a lot of exhibits and hear a lot of testimony. And all of it at the end is going to boil down to your ability to use your common sense and search for the truth. Your duty is to come to a fair and rational conclusion as to what the evidence shows. And that's how you do that. You apply the law given to you by the judge to the facts that you decide occurred and decide if Maxwell Anderson is guilty of the charges brought before this court. Maxwell Anderson is charged with 4 crimes that have just been defined to you related to the disappearance and murder of 19-year-old Sade Robinson that occurred on the night of April 1st, 2024 into April 2nd, 2024. Sade Robinson was a 19-year-old young woman. She had an apartment on the Lower East Side, 1858 North Commerce. She was in school. She worked a job. She worked at Pizza Shuttle on the Lower East Side. She was everything that you would expect a 19-year-old girl to be. That day, April 1st, 2024, Sade Robinson went to work at Pizza Shuttle like any other day. And she made plans to meet up with the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, that evening after work. And she wouldn't know it at the time that she left her apartment that morning, but she would never return. Sade and Maxwell Anderson met up for dinner and drinks at the Twisted Fisherman restaurant in Milwaukee. They then went to Duke's bar on Water Street, and then they went back to Maxwell Anderson's house on the south side of Milwaukee around 9:20 in the evening on April 1st. After leaving Duke's and going to the defendant's house, Sade would never be seen alive again. That night, she was murdered by Maxwell Anderson. Her body was dismembered by Maxwell Anderson in a vicious and gruesome manner. And then Maxwell Anderson attempted to make her disappear from this world by discarding her body into body parts into Lake Michigan, and then taking her car and burning it behind an abandoned building near 30th and Lisbon. The evidence in this case is going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Maxwell Anderson intentionally killed Sade Robinson and then sought to have her disappear from this world. He cut up her body, tried to get rid of her body parts, and tried to cover it up in any way that he could. For doing this, he has been charged with 4 crimes: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, arson of property for burning the car, and hiding a corpse. The evidence in this case, the testimony you're going to hear, is going to be voluminous. The judge just told you you're going to be allowed to take notes throughout the course of this trial. I would strongly encourage that you do that. The reason for that is so that when you're back there deliberating at the end of this trial, you're able to look back and understand the significance of things that you heard and remember it, because there will be a lot. So I would encourage you to do so. But at the end of this trial, The evidence will establish that Maxwell Anderson is the one who killed and dismembered Sade Robinson, and it'll prove him guilty of those 4 crimes. This is my opportunity to summarize the evidence so that you have sort of a roadmap as the trial progresses, and so you understand the context of what you're hearing about when you hear about it. You are first going to hear about April 2nd, 2024. Around 5:20 in the evening, the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and the Cudahy Police Department were dispatched to the shores of Lake Michigan near Warnemont Park. It was a particularly rainy day. The weather was pretty nasty that day. And 2 young men were walking the shores of Warnemont Park, and they found a human leg. And they called 911. That leg that they found would later be confirmed through DNA testing to be the leg of Sade Robinson. The leg was found down a large bluff at the park on the coastline of Lake Michigan. It's a very secluded location. You are going to see ample amount of photographs of that location. And investigators searched that area, north and south of there, significantly, thoroughly, but found no other human remains at the park. Now, this park and this location is near the Cudahy Water Department. Investigators also discovered that on April 1st into April 2nd, a vehicle had been used to ram the Service Gate Road near the Cudahy Water Department pump house. This is right next to, about 100 yards away from where the leg was found on the coastline. The Cudahy Water Department personnel reported this actually the morning of April 2nd, prior to the leg being found. Notably, where this gate was smashed, this gate takes you essentially down a service road that goes right down to the shoreline where this Cudahy Water Department pump house was located. And recovered right where this gate was smashed were pieces of a dark blue Honda Civic, 2020 Honda Civic. Sade Robinson had a dark blue 2020 Honda Civic. The pieces of that Honda Civic were recovered from that location. They were ultimately determined by an analyst from the state crime lab that they were not just from any Honda Civic, they were broken off of Sade Robinson's Honda Civic. Video was recovered from the Cudahy Water Department and the surrounding area. And the video showed that near the location of this gate, a dark blue vehicle, Sade Robinson's Honda Civic, entering the park and entering that service road where that gate is at 2:53 a.m. on April 2nd. The vehicle remains down that service road, and there's only one way in and one way out, down that service road for about an hour and a half, and departs that very same service road at 4:32 a.m. on April 2nd. Additionally, on April 2nd, just hours after that car departs the park, at 7:30 a.m., Sade Robinson's Honda Civic was intentionally set on fire behind an abandoned building near 30th and Lisbon. Later that day, April 2nd, 2024, Sade Robinson was reported missing to the Milwaukee Police Department. Friends and family, friends who knew she hadn't shown up for her work shift on April 2nd at Pizza Shuttle, hadn't heard from her, reported her missing. Police followed up. They checked her apartment at 1858 North Commerce Street. She wasn't there. No real signs of what happened. Police would then follow up on the missing persons report, speak to several family members and friends, and discover that she had gone on a date the evening of April 1st, after her work shift. They also learned what her phone number was, and they learned from her family and friends that she had an app called Life 360. Life 360 and the phone number, with that information, police obtained phone records from Verizon Wireless, the wireless company that serviced Sade's phone. And those phone records from Verizon Wireless and the records from Life 360 provided very crucial information about Sade Robinson's activities on the evening of April 1st and her whereabouts. Notably, the police discovered a text message conversation between Sade and a phone number that the police would later learn belonged to Maxwell Anderson. The text conversation showed that Sade and Maxwell Anderson were planning to meet at the Twisted Fisherman that evening to get food, and indeed did meet around 5:15 p.m. on April 1st. Additionally, the records from Verizon Wireless, as I indicated, provided location information for her phone that not only confirmed her trip to Twisted Fisherman, but would provide further location information all the way up until about 4:40 a.m. on April 2nd. Police would follow up at Twisted Fisherman, and then through her phone records, also learning that she had gone to Duke's on Water Street, And they got video from those two locations that confirmed that Sade Robinson and Maxwell Anderson met up that evening, first having dinner and drinks at the Twisted Fisherman, and then they went to Duke's on Water Street to hang out and have more drinks. Through all of that information, the phone data, the videos, investigators confirmed they were at Twisted Fisherman from 5:15 p.m. until 6:24 p.m. And then they went to Duke's on Water Street from 6:30 p.m. to about 9:04 p.m. Videos also confirmed that that evening, Sade Robinson was driving her 2020 Honda Civic, the same vehicle that was used to smash the gate at the Cudahy Water Department pump house. Now, this would be time for me to mention it's a common vehicle, Honda Civic. Everyone's heard of one, but it does have distinct features. Honda Civics have sort of distinct features that are going to be worth noting when we go through the evidence in this case. Hers was dark blue. It had a sunroof, and particularly 2020 Honda Civics had these unique sort of C-shaped lights in the rear, and you're going to see those, all features that are noticeable on video, which will become important. At 9:04 p.m., Sade Robinson and Maxwell Anderson left Duke's together, and they left Duke's and got into Sade Robinson's Honda Civic. Sade was driving, Maxwell Anderson was riding passenger, just the two of them. The phone location information from both Sade's phone and Maxwell Anderson's phones, as well as other surveillance videos that you'll see from downtown and the area near Maxwell Anderson's residence on the south side of Milwaukee, confirmed that they drove from Duke's on Water to Anderson's residence. They arrived at his residence around 9:24 p.m., and you will see video of Sade's car arriving at his residence, driving right by the front of his house and then into the alley. At the exact time, her phone location information is showing her phone arriving at his residence. Sade's phone remains at Maxwell Anderson's home up until about 12:45 a.m. on April 2nd. There's a video from across the street from Maxwell Anderson's home that shows silhouettes and movement in Maxwell Anderson's residence for the intervening about 3 hours. The time she gets there, the time her phone shows that they got there, up until about 12:45 a.m. Consistent with Maxwell Anderson and Sade being there. That video from across the street, beginning about 11:24 p.m., all the way up until about 12:45 a.m. on the 2nd, shows some movement beginning in the side yard near where the back door is, where he would come out and go in. That stops around 12:45 a.m. And any human movement that you can see in the upper window stops at 12:45 a.m. Also occurring right after 12:45 a.m., Sade Robinson's phone location information begins to show her phone moving away from Maxwell Anderson's residence, where it's been stationary since her car arrived there around 9:24 p.m. Now, this is a very crucial time in the timeline. And this is where the phone location information that investigators got from Verizon Wireless and Life 360 becomes extremely important. What occurs beginning just after 12:45 a.m. is that the victim's phone moves away from Maxwell Anderson's residence and begins to travel to various locations throughout Milwaukee County for the next few hours. And investigators were able to follow essentially a trail of videos where the victim's phone was showing her phone was at various times. From 12:45 a.m. all the way up until the approximate time her phone goes off the wireless network at 4:40 a.m. This is the time where that unique look of that Honda Civic is going to come into play for you all. You will see investigators followed where Sade's phone appeared to travel to and recovered videos around the county confirming that her car was traveling in those exact areas at those exact same times. So when the phone starts moving away from her residence just after 12:45 a.m., the records show her car driving northbound near 35th Street. Videos pick her car up driving in that exact direction. The phone then ends up downtown around 1 a.m. A camera downtown that actually is a license plate reader camera captures her plate downtown just after 1 a.m. The phone then travels up into the River West neighborhood where it remains until about 2 a.m. where cameras capture it again. It then leaves River West and heads westbound down Capitol Drive just after 2 a.m. where cameras catch it again. It then doubles back eastbound on Capitol Drive where cameras catch it again. And the records show it appears to get on the interstate and travel southbound towards and through downtown Milwaukee, and ultimately appear to exit the interstate just around 2:40 a.m., where cameras capture it again. The phone then, after exiting the interstate near College Avenue, heads east in the direction of Warnemont Park. Also captured by a trail of videos. And then by 2:53 a.m., video shows the Honda Civic arriving at Warnemont Park, which is the video I described before of the car smashing the pump house gate. Sade's phone shows her phone, her phone records show that her phone remained at Warnemont Park for about an hour and a half, the same amount of time that the car remained down that pump house road from the video. And in that time, police recovered video from that Cudahy Water Department pump house that overlooks Lake Michigan. That video, it's nighttime, it's dark, but it paints a telling tale. It shows, just after that car arrives, a silhouette of a person descending the bluffs near the coastline of Warnemont Park, near the Cudahy Water Department, where Sade Robinson's leg would later be found on April 2nd. That person, the evidence is going to show you, is Maxwell Anderson. This is the time where Sade's body was intentionally discarded into the lake after being dismembered. By this time, Sade is deceased, and Maxwell Anderson, using her own car, is trying to make her disappear. That video from the pump house confirms that he is down there for about an hour and a half before departing the pump house and departing Warnemont Park in her car around 4:30 a.m., which is exactly what the phone records show. Shortly after that, as the phone moves north, it goes off the network around 4:40 a.m. as it heads north into St. Francis towards downtown. Now, investigators also canvassed heavily near the area of where Sade's car was burned, way over on 30th and Lisbon on the north side of Milwaukee. And they also located a trail of videos from this location, picking up around 4:50 a.m., 10 minutes after Sade's phone appears to go off the network. And her Honda Civic is again picked up on those videos in the exact amount of time it would take to drive from where her phone went off the network to the location it's picked up on camera. That trail of videos shows her car, her 2020 Honda Civic, circling around the part of town where her vehicle would eventually be set on fire at 7:30 a.m. The Honda drives around from about 4:50 a.m. to 5:19 a.m., after which it is picked up next on a camera near a playground at 31st and Galena at 6:50 a.m. This is 1.5 blocks away from where her car would later be set on fire. The vehicle drives around more before pulling into the alley where it's set on fire. Police located video from a liquor store and a Milwaukee County Transit bus that depicts the time the vehicle fire was set. Now, you're not going to see it because he parked the car behind this abandoned building that did not obviously have functioning cameras. But these two videos show something crucial. They show two women walking down Lisbon Avenue who all of a sudden stop and begin to act in distress as they are clearly watching something disturbing happen. They're watching the fire being started. They are clearly shocked. They are clearly bothered on the video, which has audio.
Wow.
And right after they see this, a white male walks away from the area where the fire was set as one woman points at him and yells to the passing traffic, "He did that. Call the fire department." You will see this white male on video. You will see the distinct clothing he's wearing as he's walking away from Sade's burning vehicle. He's got a dark gray hooded top. He's got dark pants, shoes with white soles, and he's wearing a large camouflage backpack that appears to be very full. Police are able to follow an additional trail of videos of this person, the person walking away from her burning car. That trail of videos will show you that the person who lit Sade's car on fire at 7:30 a.m. boarded a Milwaukee County Transit bus on 35th and Lisbon at 8:12 a.m. And when that person gets on the bus, you will see their face clear as day on the bus camera video. It is him. It is Maxwell Anderson. He then takes the bus southbound on 35th Street and gets off the bus just blocks from his house. You will see that same vehicle, or that same video from across the street from his house that I mentioned before, showing him walking in his back door at 4:30 a.m., or excuse me, 8:43 a.m., right after he gets off the bus. These videos will prove that Maxwell Anderson lit Sade's car on fire, that no one else was with him. He did it behind an abandoned building in a part of town far from his home. Now, you're also going to hear that when police saturated the area, as well as family and friends who were not giving up on trying to figure out what happened to Sade, saturated the area where the car was burned, looking for any clues as to what happened to her. During these searches, Family, friends, and police found Sade Robinson's other leg and other foot scattered and severed into pieces near that playground at 31st and Galena, just a block and a half away from where her car was set on fire. You will then hear that on April 18th, Sade's torso was discovered, having washed ashore on Lake Michigan in South Milwaukee. Sade's head had been intentionally cut off of her torso. Both of her legs intentionally severed from her torso. Her right arm intentionally severed from her torso. Her right breast intentionally cut off her torso.
Wow.
The torso was seriously decomposed, but identifying features confirmed it to be Sade. On May 11th, 2024, Sade's right arm was discovered having washed ashore on the shores of Waukegan, Illinois, severely decomposed. You will unfortunately see images of these body parts, which make it clear that Maxwell Anderson intentionally decapitated Sade Robinson,
Trigger.
intentionally cut off both of her legs, cut off her left arm, intentionally cut off her right breast, which has never been found, and intentionally cut off her head to date, which is still missing and has never been recovered. While horribly gruesome, this will show you the intent behind what happened to Sade and the intent behind making sure she was disposed of from this world. By April 4th, Maxwell Anderson was arrested by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, and you are going to hear that his cell phone was recovered from him, confirmed to be the same phone that Sade was texting on April 1st, the last text conversation Sade would ever have. Police searched Maxwell Anderson's phone. They searched his residence, trying in any way to learn more information about what happened to Sade. And while police did not locate any kind of gory scene in the residence, they located telling information in his residence and in his phone, including photos of Sade where she is laying on Maxwell Anderson's couch, face down, with his hand grabbing her right breast. And another photo of Sade's pants and her underwear being pulled off her body.
Wait,
the same
what?
pants and underwear that you're going to see that she was wearing on video when she went out with him that night on April 1st. Photos of Sade where she is laying on Maxwell Anderson's couch, face down, with his hand grabbing her right breast.
So he did this at his house? What the hell, man? Let me take it back just a little bit, because
Text conversation Sade would ever have. Intentionally cut off her head to date.
look how he looking. He looked like he enjoying it, if you ask me. But I seen somewhere where he allegedly shed a tear or some crap. This is crazy, man. Oh, it's pissing me off. Absolutely sick. Let me show y'all something right quick, because while I'm looking at this, I was also looking at some of the places that they went. I'm gonna just pull it up and pull that right back up. What a sick piece of crap. She did not deserve that. Why did he pick her? Obviously, he been wanting to do something like this. Clearly. So this is the restaurant that they went to, Twisted Fisherman. And they wasn't outside, but they was inside. I can't get too close to nothing. But it is Twisted Fisherman. Same location. Let's see. And it wasn't nobody in there either. The video that they showed, it looked like they was the only ones in this place. Okay, so we got the ideal of that. This is the place that they went to after that. Duke's on water. What's this? They downtown area? So yeah, that's what they did. And then he took her to that park too. Obviously. Oh, there we go. And then this is the park. So this is the park. They looking at the trees. Who took that? Maxwell? That was a creepy video. Yeah, that's where it started getting creepy at. Right there by that water. Walk right down there. Sick. Yeah, please smack the thumbs up. Thank you, BFF. Welcome in, Val. What happened? And Water Street all over the news. It's on an upscale downtown area, but 4 unalivings in the last 4 weeks down there. Wow, I mean, Milwaukee is off the map from my understanding. That's crazy. What the heck? Are you from Milwaukee, Val? Let me put this back up.
Which is still missing and has never been recovered. While horribly gruesome, this will show you the intent behind what happened to Sade and the intent behind making sure she was disposed of from this world. By April 4th, Maxwell Anderson was arrested by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office,
right.
And you are going to hear that his cell phone was recovered from him, confirmed to be the same phone that Sade was texting on April 1st, the last text conversation Sade would ever have. Police searched Maxwell Anderson's phone. They searched his residence, trying in any way to learn more information about what happened to Sade. And while police did not locate any kind of gory scene in the residence,
right.
They located telling information in his residence and in his phone, including photos of Sade where she is laying on Maxwell Anderson's couch, face down, with his hand grabbing her right breast. And another photo of Sade's pants and her underwear being pulled off her body.
Okay, that's the part that I missed. Like, this idiot, like all of them do. How many other ones have he done? Because it sounds like this is something that he done before or been dreaming about it. Like, he took pictures of it. That's what they all do. That dude that did the same thing to Felicia Johnson, he took pictures too. The only thing is the police let him go. He ain't nowhere to be found. Oh, in Wobodo. But they take pictures. Trophy.
The same pants and underwear that you're going to see that she was wearing on video when she went out with him that night on April 1st. And police actually find those pants and underwear in the trunk of her car after it had been burned.
What?
You will also hear from police who searched the area around Maxwell Anderson's residence and who recovered the dark gray sweatshirt that Maxwell Anderson was wearing during the time he lit Sade's vehicle on fire. You will see it's clearly visible on the bus video of him getting on the bus where his face is visible. And you're going to hear that hoodie had Maxwell Anderson's DNA on it and Sade's DNA on it. Additionally, you are going to hear from the medical examiner who examined the body parts that were recovered and was able to conclude that Sade's body was intentionally cut into pieces after her death. The medical examiner.
Look at this bastard. Like, he's enjoying. You can't tell me he ain't enjoying this. I mean, he is just tuned all the way in. Like, think about Jarvis, okay? Jarvis. He's sitting there with his head down the whole time writing. Look at this fool. He's enjoying this. Every freaking bit of it. Every bit of it. They need to do the same to him.
Will describe the wounds to the body and what she noticed that showed the intentional severing of limbs, including the intentional severing of Sade's head. You are also going to hear and see evidence that the shores of Warnemont Park, where Sade Robinson's leg was found, were not unfamiliar to Maxwell Anderson. It was a place he knew well. It was a place he had taken a prior girlfriend to before, and that he called his secret beach.
Okay, Charlene.
That's the location where Sade Robinson was discarded into Lake Michigan. It was a place he was familiar with and had taken a prior girlfriend to before. In total, what the evidence in this case is going to show is that Maxwell Anderson murdered Sade Robinson the night of April 1st into April 2nd. He then brutally and callously cut her apart, disposed of her body parts, and burned her car.
Wow, man.
Maxwell Anderson was the last person to text with Sade Robinson. He was the last person to be in public with Sade Robinson. He was the last person to have Sade Robinson's car. He was the last person to be with Sade Robinson. And the evidence will show that he is responsible for Sade's death. You will see, the evidence will show that what happened to Sade Robinson that night was not an accident. One does not end up going out to dinner and then going out for drinks on Water Street for a good time to being dead and cut up into pieces and discarded into Lake Michigan unless someone intends for that to happen.
Yeah, he knew.
That's what the evidence will show happened to Sade Robinson. And the evidence will show Maxwell Anderson is responsible. At the end of this trial, I'm going to come back before you and again ask you to do what I asked you to do from the beginning.
Yeah.
To use your common sense and search for the truth. And if you do those two things, you will find the defendant guilty.
Now, I wonder if did they say anything like that? Like he violated her?
Ray's been in the courtroom covering this case from day one. Jenna.
I mean, did they say that? I wonder. But then again, how would they even know? He did all he did all in the water. Like this dude did not care. It seems like he didn't care if he got caught or not because he did such dumb, idiotic things. Let me see what y'all saying, man. Serious triggers. I'm telling you. He had a plan. If she say no, you already know. What I'm wondering is when they had there's a picture. He's taking pictures by this time. So I'm thinking that she already gone. But that don't stop them from doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I did my homework. He's done this before. Has he really? I don't doubt it. That do not surprise me. So has he ever, did they ever say something about it on his record? Or like, I know that he attacked people before. I know that he tore up people's property before, but to unalive somebody, I think he did it before because how do you just start out like that? I'm talking about that's the ultimate. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Let's go to the defense. Ain't got
about,
time.
we don't dispute. No doubt that exists in this case.
Get to talking.
You heard it yesterday during jury selection, and you heard it again today in the state's opening. And they're using the phrase common sense because they want you to ignore the mountain of reasonable doubt that exists in this case.
Man, go.
I want to start by telling you guys that much of what Mr. Vance Curzan just talked to you about, we don't dispute. So a lot of this trial isn't in dispute. The timeline, the fact that Max met Sade, Max had met her, went on a date with her, that they went to the Twisted Fisherman, that they went to Duke's, that they were out together that night, that they went back to Max's house, none of that is in dispute. The fact that body parts wash up at Warmont Park, the fact that body parts are found at 31st and Galena, the fact that those body parts belong to Sade, nobody here is disputing any of that.
What are you disputing?
It's horrible what happened to Sade. It's horrible. Nobody deserved that. And what the state wants you to do is use the emotion of that, along with this phrase like common sense, and use that emotion to convict Mr. Anderson. But I implore you in this trial.
I have not heard that so much as I've heard it now. I mean, on TV and, in court, politics, since Trump been in office, because that's all he say, because that's what he got. That's what most people got that ain't go to school and all this kind of stuff. Common sense, not book smart. But common sense can't be taught either. But yeah, I hear that so much now since Trump says it, in my opinion. I hear it more.
Your most important job as jurors is to study the evidence closely that's introduced by the district attorney's office. We have no burden of proof. Max is not required to prove anything. The entire burden lies here and rests here entirely on the district attorney's office. And it's the highest burden in the land to marshal together, to put together enough evidence to bring to you to show that Max killed Sade and that he committed those other crimes. There are a few pieces of evidence that the state will rely heavily on. Max near the scene of the car. Max when it's...
Wait a minute. Tone said a girl who worked at the same pizza place with Sade went missing a couple years before she did, and Sade trained her. Did they find her? Was she found deceased, or have she ever been found? And if not, I wonder, did Maxwell take her out too? You got a name on her? That's interesting. I hadn't heard that one.
Burning, Max being the last person to go on a date with Sade. And that's frankly why law enforcement zeroed in on Max. You are going to hear that the amount of law enforcement resources that were spent in this case by the Sheriff's Department, the Milwaukee Police Department, the FBI, the amount of resources that were spent on this case, I think is probably unparalleled in Milwaukee history. The amount of money and time and effort that was put into collecting video evidence to searching Maxwell's.
Look, I get tired of hearing about money. We don't care how much it costs. Do your job. I always hear about money in certain cases, Is it your money? Is it coming out your pocket?
Home to examine, to interviewing coworkers, interviewing people that might know him, an immense investigation. And the state knows that there are serious holes in their case. They know it. They know that there's reasonable doubt, and that's why they're coming at you with this phrase like common sense. So let's talk about that. There is absolutely no reason for Max to commit a crime like this. What you're going to hear in this trial is that Max and Sade lined up a date together like any couple of youngsters do, and they lined up a date at Twisted Fisherman. This is a place that Max used to work. You'll hear that they went there, they had dinner, and it was an ordinary evening. From Twisted Fisherman, as the state just told you, they went to Duke's. This is another place where Max is known. There was no secret place that Max took Sade that night, nowhere that anybody wouldn't have known him or recognized him. These are former places he worked and coworkers that he interacted with. And what I didn't hear was the theory of why Max did this, how Max did this. But I think what I heard in opening just now is that Max must have done this at his home. That seems to be the theory. Max brought Sade back to his home and killed her. Why? It's a normal date. You'll see them with camera footage leaving Duke's. You'll see them, Sade driving back to his place. You'll see them going there. In this timeline you were just given, I don't know how many witnesses they're going to call throughout this trial to put in this video or that video, but one thing you'll see throughout this is that we don't dispute any of that timeline, that they went out together and went back to Max's house, but that doesn't mean he killed her. How did he do it, and why did he do it? Why would he ever do something like that? If Max killed Sade in his home, if it happened in that location, as I think they're offering to you, there would be a mountain of DNA evidence. There would be blood. There would be some form of DNA. And I listened carefully when I heard the state's opening, because yes, it's gruesome. Yes, it's horrible. Nobody deserves it. But what was glaringly missing from what I heard was any discussion about DNA evidence. We have a crime lab in the state, law enforcement agencies that are tasked with collecting evidence from locations. I believe the theory that you're being offered today is that Sade was killed at Maxwell's house. What you'll hear about Max's house, I want to tell you a couple of things they didn't tell you. One is that the house is a duplex, upper and lower. There's a stairwell you can enter through the side of the home. If you go in the stairwell, there is a lower unit that has a tenant, if you will, a tenant who lives on the lower level. His name is Pete Warbington. You'll hear his testimony in this trial. Max lives upstairs. And the two of them went to that unit, that house. Pete Warbington, who's home on the lower level, is there that night. You will hear that Mr. Warbington is a self-described or self-professed light sleeper. I think one of the things he had said to the police is, even if one of Max's dogs is chewing a bone on the floor, he would even hear that and send messages to Max: your dog is chewing a bone, you're keeping me up, you're bothering me. He's a very light sleeper guy. And what Pete Warbington will tell you is that he was home, he was there that night, there was no struggle, there was no fight, there was no horrific event, argument between Max and Sade, but this is a downstairs tenant who can hear even the TV playing. He doesn't hear a thing, nothing, no struggle, no indication whatsoever that a murder is happening or happened upstairs. There is a common basement they share, but many of you can picture the type of home I'm describing, I'm sure. You walk in the door and it's a small stairwell that goes upstairs. So presumably their theory is that Max killed Sade upstairs. They didn't say it, they're suggesting the home, but upstairs, or maybe the basement is their theory. Either way, law enforcement pulled everything from that home. They searched it not once, but twice, 2 separate searches. You will also hear, by the way, that because of the publicity this case generated, other people had access to that home. Social justice people who were riled up online, who showed up at the home, entered, put up banners, entered the home, had access to the area. You'll hear about that too. But law enforcement for sure searched the home twice. They didn't find a murder weapon. What weapon was used to kill Sade? They didn't find any of Sade's blood with all the samples they took throughout that entire house. Every comforter, bed sheet, tabletop, wall.
Excuse me, sir, but am I missing something? Did they not say that they had pictures of this? Did they not say, did that man not say that he got a picture with a breast in his hand and her on her face, basically? Like, what are we talking about, sir? Welcome in, Val. What are we talking about, sir? Man, be quiet. You're making me... Okay? Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I was had something else in my hand. I'm like, what is he talking about? Well, I was going to say pictures don't lie, but nowadays with AI, but nah, this he did it. He did it.
None of it has Sade's DNA, blood or DNA. And then I think
this dude had a torture chamber in the basement, from what I remember hearing.
The theory is that Max drove Sade's car and dismembered her. And Max did that. With what instruments? And you'll hear from medical examiners in this case that at least one medical examiner who will testify about the sheer force that would be required to remove human limbs. That's no easy task. It's not the kind of thing that you do with a little Swiss Army knife. It's the kind of thing that you do with things like bone saws that they use in autopsies, no evidence of which Max has ever been in possession of or ever researched anything. They looked at everything about Max. Internet history, text message history. His text messages with Sade weren't deleted. They looked through his search history. Did he research how to cut up a body or how to kill someone? No, absolutely not. No evidence of that.
Yeah.
You would expect that if she died at his house, as they are suggesting.
You don't need help on cutting up something if you want to at the joints. Like, I mean, come on, man. If you ever cut a chicken, you already know
that there would be blood and DNA in that home.
Get out of here.
Another thing that wasn't mentioned in opening. At Warmont Park, Sade's body, as you heard, a leg wash is located at Warmont Park. As law enforcement was looking through that area, they found bloody gloves. Now, these gloves played a central part in law enforcement's investigation because those gloves are sort of the quintessential evidence of a dismemberment or a murder. They have blood on them, they're plastic, sort of what you can picture plastic gloves that you would wear. They're the clear type. And law enforcement, what they do is they try to determine, because they're certain you don't find bloody gloves near the scene, very close proximity to a leg. Certainly these gloves play some role in this crime. And so they look for any connection between Max and these gloves. They go to a place he volunteered at. They go to former places where he's worked. You'll hear that Max has worked at various bars in Milwaukee. He was a bartender is a bartender in the community. And that they looked at these gloves, these bloody gloves that were found by the leg, and that these gloves did not have Max Anderson's DNA on them. None. 1 in a quadrillion, or whatever the statistics are. They're not ever anything that he wore. And with respect to Sade's DNA, it's uninformative. Could be, could not be. Not able to rule it out. And not once do these gloves ever connect to Max, ever. No person that's seen him wear gloves like this, they don't match with the place he volunteered at. They don't match at any of the restaurants and kitchens that he's worked at. No connection. Sade's burning car. We know that the car is lit on fire near 30th in Lisbon or 31st in Lisbon, and you'll do with that what you will. I'll say this. The question is going to be, did Max light that car on fire? That's how you get to guilty or not guilty on the arson. Was Max the one who lit that car on fire?
They seen him do it. He's so stupid.
I find it interesting, and I hope you will too, that when we look at DNA evidence and we think about the importance of that type of evidence, the reason why it's so crucial is because we know from our human experiences that people can be wrong. We know people can be mistaken. We know that people can believe they saw something when they didn't see something. So I'm going to ask you, all of you, to implore you, study the evidence closely. When you're done with this trial and you take this back in the jury room, study everything very, very closely with a fine-tooth comb. Because eyewitnesses can be wrong, but the way we either prove or disprove it is we collect DNA swabs and we send things to our crime lab and we test them to see, does this link the person to an item? There is no accelerant or flammable liquid that connects to Max, nothing from his clothes where they can say, oh, this jacket he wore had gasoline or lighter fluid on it. But most significantly, they swabbed the exterior door handle of Sade Robinson's car. Her DNA is on her exterior door handle. Max's DNA is not. This is the same car that is burning in that area of 31st in Lisbon. And a person can be, we know from jury selection, in the wrong place at the wrong time. So what of all this video evidence that you just heard about in opening? That there's, and I told you as well, hundreds of hours of video footage that's pulled from Capitol Drive, Lisbon. Interestingly, you will hear, as Mr. Vance Curzan just told you, that when Sade left Max's house, her car actually went to Commerce Street in the Lower East Side, actually right past where she lives. You'll hear that. But what's important about the video evidence, all the footage that they pulled from every, and you'll learn a lot in this trial. The amount of cameras, as you can imagine, exist, double it or triple it, what you might think is out there. Poll cams that the Milwaukee Police Department keeps throughout the city. Ring doorbells you'd never know are hidden in a certain spot. Convenience stores that have a camera on the side. All of this video, all the hundreds of hours of video of when Sade's, and I say 100-hour collectively because what you're talking about is all these videos that go back hours and they examine all of them. Not one time on any of the video footage do you ever see Max Anderson driving Sade Robinson's Civic, ever. You can see the car, but you can't ever conclude that he is the one who is driving this vehicle. It's a pure speculation. And his phone, never leaves his house after Sade goes home. What would one expect to see after an offense like this? What would you expect to see happens with Max Anderson? Perhaps changes in one's appearance. Perhaps they flee town. Perhaps they're acting different and nervous and unusual at work. Nothing changed with Max Anderson's routine after he and Sade had their date together. Continued to go to work. You'll hear from coworkers managers and coworkers that saw him. He continued going to his jobs. He didn't change his appearance. He didn't cut his hair. He didn't concoct some plan to leave town. He didn't try to talk to the downstairs tenant to concoct stories. None of that. And that's because he wasn't responsible for any of this. There'd be no reason for him to do those things. And when law enforcement did their investigation and began looking into things and looking for her blood and looking for her DNA, they were presented with the fact, and looking for Max on video driving her car, they were presented with the inescapable fact that all of it excludes him. And that's why you hear a phrase like common sense in voir dire and now. And I'm not telling you to ignore common sense, to be clear, not what we're saying. But when they emphasize a phrase like search for the truth, use common sense, it's at the exclusion of an equally, if not more important phrase, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Justice sometimes is hard to administer. Finding Max Anderson not guilty because there is reasonable doubt is your duty, as hard as that can be in cases where we know that they're particularly gruesome. But Max had nothing to do with these crimes. And the law says it's not enough for him to look guilty or maybe be guilty, or there's a few bad things that look bad. They have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And when you, as jurors, start to go into the jury room and examine these pieces of evidence, you will be confronted with nothing but reasonable doubt, and your duty is to return a not guilty verdict. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we're going to pass out notebooks too. When you get the notebook, put your number on the front so that we know to return it to you. Okay.
Yeah, we ain't gonna forget that when all of the stuff was going on, they also sold, his father came in and sold the house, and he was able to get some money. So I'm sitting here looking at these articles that it really tripped me out, because the news, I like how they didn't put the address. They just they didn't put the ad. Oh, I see it. There's somebody knocking at the door. 3159, but I don't know. Let's see. 3159. Let's see. 3159. And what's the two streets? But yeah, his father, from my understanding, his father had bought this house for him, but I know that he definitely sold it. So let me read this. It says, last June, police tape surrounded the house. I remember this because literally they had went and decorated his house. I mean, they pinked out his whole house. They end up taking all of that stuff off like pretty quickly, because the house was sold. And it says here that the police tapes, wait, hold on. Last month, police tape, and this is not last month. Let me see, what's the date on this? This is from May 15, 2024. The home at the center of the brutal, unalivened investigation sold to new owners. Okay, this was May that this article was written. It happened in April. And by May, they done sold the house. So did they really investigate properly? And who the hell bought the house? Like, I wouldn't want nothing to do with the house. But it also says Maxwell Anderson is accused of unaliving, dismembering her on the first date. And it says the house is around 39th Street and Oklahoma Avenue, and that's the part I'm talking about. Like, why not? Where's the exact address? They sure didn't have a problem putting out what's his name? I cannot think of his name. The track meet kid. Boy, they was putting all of the family's information out everywhere they tried to go. I'm talking about what they was eating, DoorDash orders, all kind of stuff. 3159. I don't know if it's Oklahoma Street or 39th. So annoying. Yeah, you can't get a location that way. Let me pull up another video while I'm doing this stuff, or let the one play that's there. Hold on.
In Milwaukee's first state murder trial.
Yeah, as lawyers sparred over evidence discovered inside a safe in the apartment of a Milwaukee woman killed and dismembered on a first date.
Tonight, we're also getting our first look at the moment Sade Robinson left her home, never to return again.
The state also showed jurors police body camera video of Robinson's car found burned in an alley. This video shows the charred front and inside of the Honda Civic near 31st and Lisbon on Milwaukee's northwest side. Investigators say Maxwell Anderson killed Robinson, dismembered her, discarding her body parts all over the city, then set her car on fire to try and hide the crime.
Maxwell Anderson is being being charged with homicide, arson, mutilation, and hiding a corpse in Sade Robinson's death. Prosecutors say Anderson killed Robinson after the two went on a first date April 1st of 2024. Hikers found her severed leg in Cudahy's Warnemont Park the very next day. 15 witnesses took the stand on day 3 of this trial, including Robinson's friends and coworkers.
Phil News' Hannah Hilliard is live at the courthouse following this full day of testimony.
And today, Hannah, we got to look inside Robinson's apartment.
Right, Deanna, Robinson's studio apartment on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. Detectives here today describing her space as a pretty typical college student apartment. But there were some items discovered in a safe during a search warrant that the state tried to keep from the jury here today. The jury, for the first time, seeing Sade Robinson's home inside and out,
You've reviewed all of this footage, and her car never returns to that lot? That is correct.
including security footage. The state says proves Robinson left her apartment in a black jacket, white top, and jeans on April 1st, 2024, in her blue Honda Civic, and never returned home. Inside her apartment,
it actually just reminded me of a college student's apartment. So it was a little messy, but, you know, to be expected for someone who's younger.
the jury saw images of Robinson's kitchen, packed closet, bathroom, and toothbrush investigators used to collect DNA.
There was no force of anything of like a break-in or anything like happening. Did it appear that any struggle had occurred inside? No.
During a break with the jury out of the room, a dispute over evidence.
The state would be objecting to that coming into evidence.
Prosecutor Ian Vance Curzan wanting to omit the discovery of drugs inside Robinson's home, found in a safe. Those items include marijuana and pills of meth. The state questioning its importance to this case.
As an offer of proof, there were no drugs found in her system, those specific substances. So I don't know how it's relevant.
The defense wanting to point to any.
Wait, what? How do we know he ain't go in their house? Well, they said they have record. I don't know. He seemed a little slick. I don't like this guy. I'm talking about, you got to look at the body language. This dude is proud as hell. I mean, look how tall he's sitting. It's like he got his shoulders back, like he, you know, somebody sent him to do that or something. Got me one. Got me a trophy. Bastard. Let me see what y'all saying. This don't make no dang on sense. Carmelo Anthony. Thank you. God. He looks like if he was to get off, he would continue to do the demonic mess. Exactly. To black people, because that was his preference. I'm sure he, you know what I'm saying? Why you choose her? Like, was that your first time ever dating outside of your race? Or a black woman, I should say. What made you do that, sir? He a little bit too. Look at this mess, man. Look at this. This is proud. It's like he got his head back, his shoulders back, like neck up. Like, this ain't no Jarvis Butts. Coward behind nothing. He couldn't wait for this. He could not wait. Is what I'm looking at.
A suspect other than Anderson.
Just like I think the state plans to go through everything that's found in Max's home, even if I don't like it. So I plan to go into it.
How do you find it relevant, other than just what was merely located?
There is a tie between drugs and violence.
The judge ultimately siding with the defense. The jury back in the courtroom learning of the drug discovery.
What does meth mean?
Meth?
Yeah.
I just use the short term for methamphetamines.
But that's a street drug, right?
Correct.
And then 18 grams of THC, obviously marijuana is not able to be purchased lawfully either.
Correct.
Investigators eventually finding Robinson's body parts across Milwaukee. Her blue Civic burned with her black jacket, jeans, and underwear.
I feel like somebody trying to sabotage her. Why would she have meth? Why would she have that? I don't get that part. That is quite odd. That don't make sense to me. I need to hear more.
In the trunk.
A lot of details today unfolding in court, Hannah. Sade's family in the courtroom for it all, and they're now reacting to the drug discovery tonight.
All right, Deanna. So Robinson's family attorney says that these drugs, which were never lab tested, have no connection to this murder trial whatsoever. She goes on to say in a statement, quote, her mother and father are physically and emotionally suffering right now. So the focus must remain on the real issue at hand. Who murdered Sade Robinson and how was she murdered? Who burned her car? Who committed arson and why did they commit arson? Now, that arson was actually the focus of this afternoon's witness testimony from.
Why did they even bring that up? I mean, seriously, to me, that was meant to smear her. Like, why? Yeah, very freaking proud. Very proud. Like, I mean, you in court, dude. You did the ultimate, and he's sitting up there so tall, spine straight. I mean, dude is proud, baby, proud. And they did that to smear her. That should not even been admitted into court. Like they should have never been able to say that out of their mouth, period. Let's see what this one is.
Detective Justin Sokolowski, JUSTIN SOKOLOWSKI.
How are you employed?
I'm employed as a homicide detective for the City of Milwaukee Police Department.
How long have you been with the department?
Over 8 years.
How long have you been a detective?
Over 4 years now.
And how long have you been assigned to the homicide unit?
Over 3 years.
Were you working in that capacity on April 7th, 2024?
I was.
Were you dispatched to the area of 31st and Galena, specifically the playground that's located there?
Correct. Me and my partner were in the area doing follow-up at the time.
Who's your partner?
Detective Michael Driscoll, MICHAEL DRISCOLL.
What did that follow-up consist of?
We were in the area conducting follow-up, looking for video. We were flagged down by two individuals, indicated that they believe that there were human remains on the railroad tracks in the ravine.
Who were those individuals?
Kiana Moore. See,
it really upset me when I think about like the Adjika Owens and what was her dang on name? How do I forget her name? Susan, the unalived Adjika Owens. I can't stand Susan either. I don't know how I forget Susan's last name. Lorenz. Susan damn Lorenz. Like, they didn't want to say certain things in that case because they didn't want to bring in racism of any type, even though she was calling the kids little Ingas and go get your mammy and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to admit any of that, but it's okay to do this. And I know it's two different courts, but I'm just saying they should have never mentioned nothing about drugs because it had nothing to do with nothing. Period. Now I'm sitting up here wondering about it. Like, well, what the heck? Why would she have? Like, anyway, I don't know. But
and Arlinda Garza.
It wasn't in her system.
Were you able to identify how whether they were related to Sade Robinson at all?
Correct. They indicated that they were friends of Sade Robinson.
Any response?
I can withdraw the question.
Okay, next question.
They flagged you down, and what did you do in response to that?
After we were flagged down by those two individuals, we began searching the area. The area is between West Galena and West Walnut in the 1600 block between North 31st Street and North 30th Street. There is a park there located at 1650 North 31st Street. That park was previously searched on the prior day, and we were pointed directly to the railroad tracks that were located in the ravine between North 31st and North 30th Street. I entered the park that was located at 1650 North 31st Street, and I went east through the ravine to the railroad tracks.
You referenced searches on prior dates.
Correct.
Did you participate in either of those searches and referencing April 5th and April 6th?
I did not personally know.
So this is the first time that you searched a part of that park?
Correct.
Continue to describe what you did.
So the park is on the edge of a railroad tracks. There's a very steep hill that leads down to the railroad tracks, which is where the two individuals indicated that they believed there was additional human remains. Upon going down that hill from the west to the east towards the railroad tracks run from the northeast to the southwest. And I observed what appeared to be a chunk of human bone just west of the railroad tracks and south of the gates that led us to the railroad tracks.
Was there other debris or trash in the area?
Correct. The area is very common to have illegal dumping, which there was multiple garbage bins, other animal debris and things along those nature in that area.
Based on your experience, what did the bone and ligament and tissue appear to be? So
the chunk of human bone that I observed appeared to be a ball joint, and I observed ligaments that were still attached to the ball joint, as well as tissue. What we did was we froze the scene and had the Milwaukee medical examiner come out to the scene and respond to examine the bone.
Did they recover those items?
They did.
Lock his ass up.
Did they get assigned an ME case number 242430?
Yes, they did.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. Lock his ass up.
Man, he deserved more he don't even deserve to go to jail. Like, they don't even need to waste a cell on this guy for what he did to her. Unacceptable. And for the members, check out the new members emojis by hitting a smiley face on the chat line and dropping them new members emojis. Sick.
What else did you do?
From there, we conducted an additional search of the immediate area along the railroad tracks to both the northeast and the southwest, looking for additional evidence in the area. There were other animal bones recovered. I believe everything from a dog, deer, and cow were located along those railroad tracks, as well as a bunch of debris and illegal dumping.
No other human bones were found?
Not on that day, no.
Showing you what's been received as Exhibit 191. Can you tell us what this is?
That is going to be a Google map overview of the park located at 1650 North 31st Street and the railroad track that I was describing that runs from the northeast to the southwest.
Can you describe on that map where you located the bone that you've just testified to?
I can. So the circle directly to the right of foot location, there's a circle. If you follow that line to the white box that says proximal bone location, that is the approximate location where I discovered the hip joints.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to show you Exhibits 182 through 189.
I don't object to these.
Thank you. Then I'll receive them into evidence at this point.
Can you look at those and just let me know if you recognize what they are?
I recognize where this is.
What are those exhibits?
The photos start off with the bridge directly to the south of where I discovered the proximal bone, facing northbound to cover that railroad track area, and then a series of photos getting closer and closer and closer to the bone that was discovered.
Permission to publish these?
Go right ahead.
Let's start.
So, wait a minute. I noticed I think you gotta scroll past those to get to the emoji, Charlene. Let me look. Yeah. Well, actually, mine should be at the top. On my phone, like when you hit on the smiley face, the emojis at the top are the custom emojis for my channel. The other ones are YouTube emojis. The one you just hit is a YouTube emoji. I'm about to drop all of them. Those are the emojis.
Start out with that bridge. Is that bridge also depicted on Exhibit 191?
I believe if you move the photo up slightly, you should be able to see the bridge on West Walnut, which will be in the 3000 block of West Walnut.
Does that help?
I believe it's to the south. So you just barely catch the bridge there where you see Google. That is going to be the 3000 block.
Okay, I'm going to show you Exhibit 182 here, and then I'm going to go back to 191, okay? Okay, 182. Your testimony is that this is this southern bridge.
I'm mistaken. That's actually going to be the West Walnut Street on the north side, facing to the south.
This one?
Correct.
Okay. Exhibit 183, what is that?
An additional view of the bridge facing to the south.
Are you sure that this isn't the park?
I believe that's going to be a view of the park from the south.
Exhibit 184.
That is going to be a view from the bridge facing down to the approximate location where the bone was recovered, and that's going to be the light that was set up due to it becoming dark at the time.
Exhibit 185.
Just a zoomed in version of that same photo.
Exhibit 186.
Another zoomed in photo of that same photo.
These photos are getting darker as we go in sequence here. What time were you flagged down approximately?
The initial time of being flagged down was about approximately 6 p.m. I would say by the time that it was discovered and that we had the crime scene investigator who takes our photos arrived on scene, it was probably about an hour to 2 hours later.
And what is this a photo of, Exhibit 186?
That's just going to be the flashlight on the bone that was discovered, as well as you can see a yellow bag on the top right. That is going to be our evidence markers.
Exhibit 187.
Just a closer up photo of that same image.
Okay, and there's an evidence marker number 1 there.
Correct.
Showing you Exhibit 188, what is that?
That is going to be a zoomed in photo of crime scene marker number 1 that we used, as well as a scale for reference due to size.
And what about?
So that's going to be even a further zoomed in version of the bone that was discovered, showing the ligaments and the tissue that was observed on that bone.
Oh my God.
You testified at the beginning that you and Detective Driscoll were out canvassing the area for surveillance video.
I believe that was our initial intention to be in the area, yes.
Did you accomplish anything as it relates to that?
Unfortunately, that night we did not recover any video. We were occupied by the bone recovery.
Were you able to search for any surveillance video or not?
There was numerous attempts on multiple days to get video in the area.
You personally?
On a later date, yes.
Okay. But your assignment this night kind of shifted when you were flagged down.
Correct.
Nothing further. Cross?
How many cases involving body parts would you say that MPD is involved in per year?
I would not have an exact quote on that number.
Is it something that you go years without even having to see that situation?
I would say no.
Meaning what? That you, in your 4 years as a detective, you saw something like this every year, or what?
I wouldn't say every year, but there are cases where human remains are discovered in the city of Milwaukee.
Is it important to be thorough?
Yes. To the same age?
Roundabout,
Okay. What school?
Craig Montessori,
How old are you?
21.
Were you friends with Sade Robinson?
Yes.
How long had you known Sade Robinson?
Since 4th grade.
Were you to the same age?
Roundabout,
Okay. What school?
Craig Montessori.
How close of a friend did you consider Sade?
My best friend.
She was your best friend?
Yes.
What sort of things would you do with her?
Talk on the phone
Hang out with her?
when we can.
Okay. Did there come a time in April of 2024 where you contacted law enforcement because Sade was missing?
Yes.
Can you tell us how you came to find out that Sade was missing?
I was at work. I checked my phone. My cousin asked me if I was okay. I called her. And then she said that she saw something on social media about Sade went missing. And then that's how I found out.
This was around the beginning of April of 24, right?
I can't remember the exact date, but
Sure, fair enough. Do you recall how long prior to that you had last seen Sade in person?
I can't remember.
The last time you hung out?
Can't explicitly remember.
Okay. How about the last time you two talked before that?
Pretty recently over the phone.
On the phone?
Yes.
Do you remember what you talked about?
Not exactly.
Did you know that she had recently gone on a vacation prior to that?
Yes.
Where did you know that she went to?
If I remember, that's when she went to her Jamaica trip.
Okay. You found out about that from her directly?
Yes, we were on the phone when she was on the trip.
Had you talked to her from the time she got back from the trip up until the time she had gone missing?
Yes.
On the phone?
Yes.
When you found out, I think you said it was from your cousin that she was missing? Is that right?
Yes.
When you found out that information, what did you do?
I can't remember the exact timeline of events.
That's fine. I just want to know how you responded to learning that information.
Okay, is he trying to see how close they really were? Miss V, did this stinking monster drive her past the water where he threw a couple of her parts? Remember when you just showed a little while ago a couple videos? Yeah, like shoot, this is so new to me. I'm not all the way connecting it, like, because this is literally my first time watching all of this. So it'll all come together in a minute. It just sounded like he was just walking. I don't know how he was getting rid of these. I guess towards the end, like, because I was just looking at a video where, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to go to the video because I'm not going to have time to get through her testimony. I see how it's going. So I'm going to pull up this other video, and there's some ladies that actually seen this idiot and what he did. And they was kind of like flagging, like he did that. But I couldn't hear nothing on this video. So let me see. We're going to get up out of here in a minute. But I want to pull this up. And he's sitting there looking stupid.
Video capturing the severity of that fire. The front seats down to the frame. Just about every item inside charred and soaked. Maxwell Anderson, the man on trial accused of setting this fire.
I think we just seen this.
Seeing footage of shot.
We just seen some of this, but I don't recall seeing the ladies that saw what he did. And it was two black women pointing him out.
The jury Thursday seeing footage of Sade Robinson leaving her East Side apartment in a black jacket and jeans, taking off in her blue Honda Civic, never to return home again. The very next day near 30th in Lisbon. Prosecutors say these two women in the area witnessed someone light a car on fire behind a nearby abandoned building. The one wearing blue flailing her arms, trying to get anyone's attention.
You call him a devil, I think. Yeah.
Prosecutors say these two women in the area witnessed someone light a car on fire behind a nearby abandoned building. The one wearing blue flailing her arms, trying to get anyone's attention. A different angle shows someone with a large tan backpack.
Look at this idiot. He was all on the bus. His thumb looked black. I mean, they had a good view of him. And what's in the backpack?
Walking away from the fire.
And when you arrived there, what did you observe?
A car burning behind the building located at 30th and Lisbon.
Firefighters just blocks away responding to it. Police body camera video capturing the severity of that fire. The front seats down to the frame.
Wow. He did her like that. I mean, why?
Just about every item inside charred and soaked. Maxwell Anderson, the man on trial accused of setting this fire.
Look at this bastard. I don't like this dude at all. Like, what? Look at him. Unfreaking real. Welcome in, Kyla. This poor little young lady seems nervous and a little in shock. Yep, she really does. I mean, she just like real serious. And I mean, yeah, I probably would be just like that. A deer in headlights on a trial like that. So messed up. I apologize. I messed up my question a little bit. That's okay. This PD pissing me off. I don't know why people don't understand. People have different lives. We may talk way more than we see one another because life is lifing. And he irks me. Okay, Yakia, he irks the hell out of me too. Look at him. Like, he making me mad just looking at him. He a little bit too proud and too curious and too excited about this. Only thing missing is the smile on his damn face.
Watching the video with a blank stare.
Super weird because that engine still looks like it's
that's what it is. A blank damn stare. Exact. Thank you for finishing my
pristine condition. And when I ran the license plate and the VIN of this motor vehicle, it listed to Sade Robinson.
Investigators on the stand Thursday describing what they found inside Robinson's burnt out trunk, her tattered black jacket, and her jeans inside out.
So you did not place them like that? No. Is there anything upon looking at that strikes you as unusual?
I think looking at how these were recovered, it could be consistent with somebody assisting in the removal.
And Hannah, the jury had a long day. They saw 15 witnesses take the stand.
Right, Derek. And aside from the car fire, the jury also heard from a close friend of Sade Robinson who describes her as the kindest, most charismatic person she had ever met. The jury also heard from investigators who conducted a search warrant inside the victim's home, but we still have a long way to go. For example, we have yet to hear from investigators what they found inside Anderson's home.
All right, this testimony will continue tomorrow. Hannah Hillier reporting live outside the courthouse complex. Today, prosecutors also showed video of Sade Robinson, as Hannah mentioned, leaving her apartment the morning she disappeared. They also shared photos from inside her apartment.
We determined that there was no force of anything.
Okay, we just seen that. Poor Sade, I mean, she was just starting her life. She was just starting her life. I mean, she was in school, recently graduated, I do believe, at some point, but she was in school for something. Let me see. Hold on, because I thought I had it right here. Dang it. Hold on, I might have shot it. Let's see. Finna start law school. Oh, I thought it was something with law. Shout out to the AFC podcast. How you doing, my friend? My brother in crime. What was she in school for? He looked like a Kalu, the cartoon character. Nah, don't do him like that. That dude looked real Jarvis type to me. That's what he looked. A little challenged. Look a little challenged, in my opinion. But let me see something. Yeah, I ain't got it on here. Last month, police tape surrounded the home. Nope. But as far as the house, I was talking about that. It says now records show that Anderson sold the home on May 3rd while in jail awaiting trial. See the privilege. You know what I'm saying? He in jail selling houses. Okay. The property record from the Wisconsin Department of Revenue show Anderson sold the home to 2 LLCs for $195,000. Anderson's father, Stephen Anderson, confirmed the sale over the phone with the news reporters. All while all of the stuff is going on, people at their house decorating and all that, that stuff got taken down super quick. You hear me? So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, y'all. We going to get out of here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We are almost at the 2-hour mark. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I think I got one preset. But we're going to be back tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. But we'll be back. Either here or on my other channel. The other channel is politics, and I really need to get over there. So that is probably where I'll be at tomorrow. I got to tap in. It's been a lot going on with these politics and also these airplanes and stuff falling out the sky. And for the people that didn't see it when I was live earlier, there's an event going on for Naziah Harris, London, Janiyah, London Thomas, Janiyah McMichael, Kimani Lateef, and Naziah Harris in Detroit, September 6, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 5. And you can stop and freeze it to read everything on it. And that's been hosted by Kathleen Hurd.
What's up, sleuths? Please be sure to visit the community daily. YouTube is now asking what's on your mind. The community is now a place that we can have ongoing conversations and is similar to Facebook. You as a subscriber can tap into any conversation on the community. Here you will find a variety of things, even things that's not related to crime. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you. What's up, sleuths? Please be sure to visit the community daily.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You going to jail. You going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his. Nanny boo boo.
Well, we already know he definitely got found guilty, but we might revisit some more of this stuff because there's some more stuff that I need to know. This is just the beginning. But We out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make this go viral. Smack that thumbs up on the way out, y'all. Very much. It ain't their fault. I ain't never liked it. Peace and love, y'all. We out.